Good morning. It is March the 16th, 2024. It's a great day to pray, as always. I hope that you're praying. I hope you're talking to the Lord, that the lines of communication are open between you and your Heavenly Father. He loves you so much. This morning, as I'll get into the prayer in just a moment, but this morning, as I was going out to feed the cats, we have two inside cats. We have Ruth and Lydia. And then we have outside cats that we feed that hang around our backyard and in our front yard a little bit. But we feed them just dry food and just go out there every morning. And there are two of those outside cats that have gotten to where they're comfortable around me. They will let me pet them and love on them a little bit, and the rest of them not so much. And there's one that's a younger kitten, not young, but a few months old. I don't know, 3 or 4 months old, and that cat we call Domino, and her mom is one of the ones that lets me love on her. And I go out there, and her mom, Shadow just comes up, and she's just friendly. In fact, when I open the back door, sometimes she'll stick her head in the back door. She didn't come in, but she's comfortable. She's not, worried about what I'm doing or anything like that. But Domino, on the other hand, she's seen me every day. I go out and I love on Shadow. I feed them, but Domino is like, will get close, but then dart away, and just can't bring herself to get too close. And this morning was no different. I went out there, and she got a little closer than she has before, but it's like, I want to, but I can't, and then run away. And I thought, man, that is just like so many of us in our walk with the Lord, is that we want to get close, but we're afraid. There's something that blocks us from trusting. And that's my prayer this morning. That's where I'm going this morning, is I'm praying for all of you, and we all do in different ways, but I'm praying for those who are struggling with trusting the Lord. Whatever's going on in your life, you want to. You tell yourself you need to. But when you start getting close, you dart away. And there's a lot of different reasons, and I don't have time to go into all the different reasons that we do this. But I do want to say something, and then I'm going to get back to this. That Lord willing, I'm putting this out as a commitment. Tonight at 7 o'clock, I'm going to do a live stream Bible study on the book of Acts. So we'll be in Acts chapter 1. So 7 o'clock tonight, if you don't have anything to do, jump on and let's do that together. And it'll be interactive. So if you have comments or thoughts or questions, you can feel free to ask. So got that out of the way. And now let's get back to trusting the Lord. Trusting the Lord is not always easy, although it should be easy. It should be easy because we see God's faithfulness. This is the thing. I go out there every single day, in the morning and in the evening. I go out there every single day, and I'm bringing them provision. She sees me loving on her mama. I love on her. She sees that it's okay. It's safe. I'm not going to hurt her. I'm not going to hurt any of them. And yet, she still can't bring herself to get close to me. I'm talking to somebody this morning that this is you, that you've seen the faithfulness of God. You've seen his hand of provision. You've seen his goodness. You've seen him moving in your life and the life of other people, but there's still a huge barrier to you walking in trust with the Lord. And so I'm praying that the Lord would reveal what the barriers are. And a lot of times it goes back to how we've been hurt in our life. We got hurt at one point, and whether we realize it or not, even as a child, a lot of the times we blame God. We get upset and angry at God. Why wouldn't God protect me? Why wouldn't God stop this from happening? And the ugly truth of this matter is we live in a broken and fallen world where people have free will to do things that are horrible and hurtful and mean. And sometimes they're not even on the scale of what I just mentioned of that bad, but they still hurt. People reject us. People disappoint us. There's somebody this morning that I know that you have been disappointed in people. And it's hard for you to put yourself back out there. The very people that were supposed to help you, the very ones that were supposed to love you and protect you didn't. And it's hard for you to get close to people again. But I'm going to tell you, it's a miserable way to live with everybody out there and you're not letting anybody in. It's a miserable way to live. It's a lonely place to live. And your heart will grow cold and hard, and you will not have peace. You will not have joy. You're probably going to allow bitterness and resentment to come in. I'm praying that doesn't happen. And maybe it already has. Maybe you've been living there for a good long while. And I'm praying for you this morning. I'm praying for you to let people in. And more than people, I'm telling you, you got to let God in. You got to lower the guard, lower the drawbridge and let him through. Stop trying to protect yourself. It's not working for you anyway. And you know that when you really think about it, it hasn't worked for you at all. But I do want to share with you a verse and is out of Psalm 37. Psalm 37. Now, I usually don't do this for my daily prayers, but I had a little extra time this morning and I knew the Lord took me to this verse. So I went ahead and did the banners here. I usually use them for my teaching live streams, but not the prayer. So don't get used to them. They may show up every now and then, but probably most days they won't. But Psalm 37:3, it says, trust in the Lord and do good, dwell in the land and feed on his faithfulness. Oh my goodness, that's a word for us today. Feed on his faithfulness. Wow. Trust in the Lord and do good, dwell in the land and feed on his faithfulness. Now, this is progression. The more that we trust in the Lord, the more that we're going to do good, the more that we're going to dwell in his presence, and the more that we're going to see his faithfulness and be able to feed on his faithfulness. That's such a great there, but we're not done there. We're not done there. That's 37:3. 37:4 says, delight yourself also in the Lord, and he shall give you the desires of your heart. I believe that trust is connected to delighting yourself in the Lord, enjoying the Lord, wanting the desire to want to be close to him. It's hard to trust someone that you don't want to be close to. It's hard to trust somebody that you want to be with here, but not here. It's time for you to move closer and enjoy the Lord. It's time for you to stop listening to the devil's lies about who he is and that he's mad at you, that he's upset at you, go back to Luke 15 and the prodigal son. The father wasn't angry at the prodigal son. He was just wanting him to come back, to be in his presence. Stop letting the devil tell you how disappointed God is in you. It doesn't mean that you can't disappoint God or that I can't disappoint God. We can upset him too. But his heart is for us to come back. His heart is for mercy and compassion. His arms are open wide. Come on home. I miss you. I want you back here. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he shall give you the desires of your heart. There's more I could go ahead and talk about there. Good morning, Linda. But I want to keep going. 37:5 says, commit your way to the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. Now, this is where the rubber meets the road here. There's a lot of things that you and I want in our life. The first thing is I've got to make sure I'm on the same path as the Lord. For almost 30 years of my life, I tried to do my own thing. I wanted my way. I didn't want to submit to the will of God because I knew when I was about 11 years old, somewhere in there, I don't know the exact age. I think it might, I can't remember exactly, so I don't know for sure, but it might have been the audible voice of God. Now, you also need to know that I was raised in a church that we did not believe that God spoke to people today. We didn't believe that he speaks to people today. And so, but when I'm about 11 years old, we're driving in my hometown of Dimmitt, and the Lord told me, he said, Curtis, I want you to be a preacher. And that scared me. I didn't tell anybody about it. And I didn't know what to do with it. Now, I didn't really think I knew it was the Lord. I knew it was the Lord, but I didn't want to admit that it was the Lord. I didn't want to face that because it wasn't what I wanted with my life. Now, my grandfather was a preacher, and, I just didn't want that life. And so I ran from the Lord. I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be a novelist. And there's a whole testimony with that I'll share sometime for those of you who haven't heard it, but I don't have time to go into it today. But I tried to do my own thing, and it didn't work out for me. Why? Because I didn't commit it to the Lord. And if I had, I wouldn't have been doing it because I was doing what I wanted, not what the Lord wanted. But he says, you got to commit your way to the Lord. Trust also in him. Okay, you got to make sure that what you're doing is what the Lord wants you to do. Then you've got to trust him with it. Commit it. Say, Lord, this is yours. It's not mine. You do whatever you want to with it. I'm also praying for somebody today that there's something that you really, 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 really want to happen in your life. And I'm asking you today, have you committed it to the Lord? And are you okay if he says no? Are you okay if he says, this isn't what I have for you? Now, for me, he totally said, Curtis, this is not the way. And he shut down the book that I was writing, and I had spent 2 years on it. And I'm telling you today, many, many years on the other side of this, I'm so glad he did. I wouldn't go back and change that at all. I'm so grateful. But back then, it was a hard thing to surrender to him because this is what I wanted with my life. But I'm praying for you today. Are you willing to commit it to the Lord that even if it's not his will, are you willing to give it to him? I'm praying for you today. Now let's keep going. I got to wrap this up. He shall bring forth your righteousness as a light and your justice as the noonday. He's going to bring it forth. He's going to bring your righteousness and your justice as the noonday. Rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. Rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. I got to go because I got something I got to take care of that I didn't realize. But I want you to rest in the Lord. Trust in him. He's safe. He's providing for you. He's not against you. He wants to help you. He wants to bless you. Feed on his faithfulness. Somebody needs to put that in the chat today. I'm feeding on his faithfulness today. I'm going to trust him. But trust comes from being in his presence and seeing that faithfulness, seeing him come through for you. I'm praying for you that you would be able to trust the Lord like never before. Tonight, 7 p.m., I'm going to do a study on the book of Acts. We're going to start it anyway. And I'll try to do at least one a week on that. I hope you can join me. And I'm praying in the mighty name of Jesus. Be blessed, and I will see you tomorrow. Share this if it has blessed you, and I will be praying for you tomorrow as well. Have a good one.